Today I am joined by Elsie Addington, who is here on behalf of United, and we are going to talk about disaster preparedness, Code Red, and just all the things that are surrounding us in terms of helping us. Well, Elsie, thank you for joining me. How are you today?
I'm fine, Lisa. How are you?
Good, good. This is a good time to evaluate all of this because we never know when the next disaster might strike. I mean, obviously we had the fires and that was very concerning. And, we talked to our director of security and he gives us instructions on what we need to do. And so therefore we're going to talk a little about some of the things that we can do on our own to be prepared. So thanks for joining us. So maybe for starters, we should just talk about the disaster plan because you mentioned it's pretty detailed.
It is very detailed, Lisa. It's several pages, and I want to assure everybody out there that this disaster plan was recently updated as recently as 2019, and it's very detailed, and it assigns different parts of the village to different functions, and it's incredibly detailed. And if you're interested in looking at your village's disaster plan, you need to go to, it's online, and if you go to our website, hover over residents, and then under residents, you'll see a choice called, well, for heaven's sakes, under services, resident services, and then under resident services, it says security services. Because if you do this just like that, it's really easy. So you go to residents, and then services, and then security services, and it'll the emergency operation plan will pop up. So, okay. Oh, and before I go any further, because I have a mind like Swiss cheese, Lisa, I have a little surprise for you at the end of our interview. So don't forget the surprise.
All right, I won't forget.
So that's about it. And I think it'll reassure people somewhat. It's our security people are all over this, and if anything, they're monitoring. Our CEO, everybody is monitoring. Every day they were monitoring. I mean, every minute of every day practically. All the evacuation orders, all the emergency alerts, the progress of the fire, the progress of the fire department. There were a lot of people that were on full alert during that whole period. And whereas we couldn't stop the ashes from coming through the air, but aside from that, you were being kept safe even though you didn't know it. And I think if you see the disaster plan, it'll reassure you somewhat.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think that's something that everybody should take a look at just so they get a good idea of what went into planning and making sure that everybody, like you said, is safe. Now, in that regards, October was the Great American Shakeout for earthquakes. However, there was also some testing that went on. Can you help us understand what are some of those things that we tested?
Yes, in the emergency plan, there are a lot of things that people are supposed to do. There's communications, radio, antennas, people manning clubhouses for evacuation centers. And so the Great American Shakeout, even though it's specifically for earthquakes, it tests the various items in the security plan. So see if it works. And then they can work with their mistakes, if there were errors made, lessons learned, that kind of thing. But it usually goes pretty well.
Okay,
so
perfect. Well, good. And that sort of brings us to Code Red. So Code Red is it is something that people can sign up for. Can you tell us how to do that?
I can. Again, if you go online, those of you that are online and have a computer or a phone, if you go to the lagunawoodsvillage.com website, which is our main website, in the upper left corner, let me make sure it's the upper left. It is. It's the upper left corner. It says Code Red. I mean, creatively enough, it says Code Red, and you go and you click on that, and it explains Code Red to you, and it also is an easy way to enlist in Code Red if you're not already enlisted. And what that is during any kind of emergency, you'll be notified either by email or by phone or by text. You tell them how you want it. And I get phone calls, but my husband gets texts, and we both get the message. I mean, Code Red works for us just perfect, and it's really a great system. But now that's separate from anything else you might be in, like you might be enrolled in the Friday blasts or the what's happening in the village. This is separate. It's a distinct emergency system. So it's called Code Red. Now, if you don't have a computer, that's okay. And if we ever open the community center again, you can get them from the security guard that's personnel that's on duty at the front desk. Or for now, you can call resident services, and they will see that you get a paper copy, and then you can fill it out and either drop it off or put it in the mail. But it's really important, and it notifies you if there's going to be any kind of a emergency, so you can get ready for whatever.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Now there is a meeting coming up, and it's the meeting of the committee for the disaster preparedness group, right? So tell us when the meeting is.
That's a GRF committee, and it's called the Disaster Preparedness Committee, again, creatively enough. And the next meeting is going to be on a Tuesday at 9:30 in the morning on November 24th. And, you know, God willing, and the creek don't rise. We hope it'll be then. And Chief Rojas is very active as well with the Disaster Preparedness Committee. And also, if you're interested in being a block captain, a lot of times, like when we're afraid of something, if we get involved in it and you look at its little parts, and it's really not that scary, you know. And plus, it's a good way to serve your village is to be a block captain. And if you know somebody who's a block captain, you know, things are a little broken right now with our communications. As you probably know, we're having computer problems. So it's a little bit difficult, but if you know somebody who's a block captain, ask them how they became one. Or otherwise, if you check in with security, and again, I'm not positive about that phone number, but if you check with security or follow the Disaster Preparedness Committee, somebody that's on that committee, they'll help you apply to be a block captain. And that's like in cases of emergencies, you go around and make sure everybody in your building is safe and sound, and if they need assistance. And that's part of Code Red too. Code Red will tell helpers who needs a wheelchair, who needs a walker, you know, make people that live alone. So all this really does come together nicely. Hopefully we'll never have to use it, but that's about all I have for disaster preparedness.
But that's good. I mean, I think that's great. And like you said, the block captain is someone that the little block will defer to in a emergency, and that block captain is trained. So they will train them once you've decided to participate. They train you, they give you things that would be associated with emergency, so you have on hand. You get a little vest, and so yeah, you get all sorts of great stuff. So if you want to do that,
a little whistle.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know about the vest. I heard about the vest. So I think if you get a vest, that sounds great. You know, you can have some authority there. But anyway,
well,
thank you.
And if people can find you easily in an emergency.
Exactly. All right. Well, very good. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time, Elsie.
Don't you want your little surprise?
Oh, yeah, I do. Did I win a prize?
You forgot. Yes, here's the surprise.
Oh, look at you. You got a whole thing. Nice.
This is our survival kit, and this who sells this and sponsors this is Surprise, the Disaster Preparedness Committee. And it's just amazing. Here's a place like you could always, like when you have to evacuate, you want to put your medications or something. There's an outside thing, and this is a emergency survival blanket. But you would not believe the stuff that's in here. Here's a poncho.
Oh yeah.
This is a combination radio, flashlight, and siren, and a cell phone charger, and no batteries are required.
Wow, that's cool.
I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up. This is amazing. And it's just tons. Oh, here's a first aid kit.
Oh, terrific.
I know this is fascinating stuff, and there's food, and here's another first aid kit.
Food?
Lovely water and food.
Oh.
And it doesn't look very appetizing, but when you're, this is the water here, and this thing turns into a water holder, and the food part are these lovely bars right here.
Oh, okay. Good. Did you try one?
No, and the shelf life is good for 3 years, and
Okay.
the sell by date is prominently displayed. And
Okay.
something else, oh, here, there's something else. If you're all evacuated and sitting around with nothing to do, then you should also probably put this in yourself. It's have a bottle of wine and, maybe little flowers, a little music on your, on your cordless phone. And you may as well
Enjoy your time.
you may as well write out the disaster in comfort. That's my.
There you go.
So that was your little surprise. And these things are available in the community center when we finally open again. And there's the disaster preparedness room.
Right. And if they are in need, they definitely can get in touch with those folks, and they can make arrangements to get one. So.
And if you're not going to buy one of these from the disaster preparedness people, I really recommend everybody should have this anyway, and have some emergency water. You never know, earthquake, fire. You don't have to run around being scared, but it's nice to be prepared.
Perfect.
That's
wonderful.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
All right. Bye-bye.
Be prepared.
And we'll be right back after this.